What's going on? Steve here with IBC Global. Today, we are going to have some fun as we're talking about high cash value life insurance, but income in retirement. So the appeal here, taking income in retirement and why people use life insurance for this is because if you do things right, the income you take from your life insurance policy can be completely tax-free. You'll see a lot of people take out cash value life insurance for this reason alone, and you'll see a lot of agencies and professionals in the industry sell life insurance for this sole reason. Income in retirement, that is tax-free. Very appealing, especially when we consider tax brackets going up and down. They'll probably go up for a while. It's something we don't have control over. We do have control over this, which is nice, at least with the current tax laws around cash value life insurance. So what we're going to look at are two different options with respect to how you can take income from a life insurance policy, and really two different ways people do it. There are two popular strategies. Option B is really interesting when you look at how it works, but there's just a couple more steps to it. So here's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at a policy. It's for an individual that is starting his policy at 45 years old. We'll pull up the illustration. You'll see how he's funding it. But first, we've got option A, which is just income starting at 65 years old, and that's going to be pretty straightforward. I just flip the income switch on at 65. I'm going to take income out until the day I die. We ran the illustration to like age 95 or something like that, but we're not draining the policy. Versus option B, we've got a permission slip to spend. And what this means is we've got other assets in retirement. Life insurance is not the only place we've positioned our money, which we would not want to do, by the way. But with a life insurance policy, we now have a permission slip to spend that other money. So what you'll see in this scenario is first, we spend all of our other assets that in many cases are taxable. And then once those are depleted, then we begin to take income from the life insurance policy. In this example, we're going to see income coming out and starting at age 80. So real quick, who this works really well for is for individuals that have other assets in retirement. Typically when we are building out this type of plan, you already have other assets or you're in the process of building up other retirement assets, which could be retirement accounts, could also be real estate investments, your business, could be anything. It's an asset that you are counting on having in retirement that will produce cash flow, income for you. So we've got other assets. And then this is not a must, but it is a nice added benefit. Leaving a legacy is important to you because with this strategy, what you're able to do is leave a large legacy. And we'll illustrate that specifically as we go through the numbers and such. Okay, so we've got our two options, retirement options that is. Option A, we're going to assume in retirement. So remember, you're going to start the policy at 45 years old. And then at age 65 in this example, you have $5 million in retirement assets. And again, that can be a combination of a lot of things, real estate, stocks, bonds, qualified accounts, whatever. And we'll just assume here it's going to earn an average return of 5%. 5% of $5 million is $250,000 per year. And here you can live off the interest. Ever hear of that strategy? I'll accumulate this big pile of money and just live off the interest indefinitely. It's a strategy that's practiced by a lot. And it is appealing if I'm able to accumulate a large bucket of money in retirement. So again, we're assuming here you have $5 million in other assets. You live off the interest there. That generates $250,000 per year from age 65 up until the day you die. And then when you do die, the $5 million is passed to the next generation. Now, in this particular case, what you'll have in addition to that is $150,000 per year coming from the life insurance policy. And that'll occur from age 65 until the end. You want to see this? Yeah, let's break this down a little bit because there's a lot I just crammed in there. And if I'm watching this, I'd want some detail on this. So let's look at this first, and then we'll look at the policy. So beginning with, you have $5 million. This is a life insurance illustration, not $5 million. Here's a calculator where we're going to look at $5 million. So $5 million bucks, present value. And again, we're assuming you are 65 years old. And here we'll just plug in 20 years. So here we go. Annual withdrawal. What we're going to do is first assume the interest rate at 5%, flat, $250,000 per year. So what we are assuming here is you have $5 million, earning 5%, and you're just living off the interest. Very straightforward when we look at it. Okay, so let's progress next onto the life insurance policy. We'll begin with the illustration so you can see exactly what we put together here. This is important and where we should start, meaning before we ever look at taking income from a life insurance policy, what we want to focus on first is the setup of the policy, designing it for maximum cash value and such, because if that is overlooked, meaning your policy is not maximized for cash value, that's going to impact what you can pull in terms of income down the road, especially when you start to look at things conservative or if you're looking at the guaranteed values. So what we've got here we go. An initial lump sum of $300K, then $200K per year through year 7 for a total of $1.5 million. Where the 7-year funding came from here is with a life insurance policy, if you're able to max fund it for 7 years, it can really have a positive impact on the internal rate of return. It's a great way to maximize the cash value of a policy. Now, you can achieve similar results by doing it in a shorter period of time. Actually, at age 45, if he did this over 3 to 5 years, you'd see a little bit more cash value long term, which is nice. But between, call it 3 and 7 years, is a fantastic way to maximize a lump sum going into a policy. And where that 7 years comes from, is after the 7th year, there's no more premium. We chopped it off. So what we're able to do is kill the premium without getting into details, maximizes the cash value growth. So that's the illustration. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Here's what we want to look at. Income. So what we'll look at first is this. There's the funding going in. Down at age 65, we start to pull out how much? You see it in purple. $150,000 per year. Okay. So a couple things I want to hit on here first. In blue is your annual outlay. This is how much you're paying into the policy. Annual income is how much you're getting out. This is a combination taking withdrawals and also loans. I would check out the video above for more information on that. Total outlay. This will be a neat one to look at. This will show how much you paid in total. So for example, the first 7 years, if you tally up all your payments, you've paid in 1.5. But then when you start to take income out, look at what happens to that column. It starts to go down because we're pulling money out. So I want to see how much I paid in and then how much I took out. So in this particular case, at $150 per year, we're not draining the policy. We're not quite living off of the interest only, but look at this. You're pulling out $150 per year. What's happening here? Cash value is gradually going down when we look at it. And eventually we hit a point in time where the money we've pulled out exceeds what we've paid in. And by 94, you've still got over $500,000 in cash value and a death benefit of close to $1 million as well. So that's the scenario where we are just taking $150 per year in income from the policy. And if we go back to our whiteboard, this would be in addition to the $250 per year. And if you had other assets of $3 million, 5% of that is $150, it'd be the same thing. So we can change the numbers, and there's a lot more modeling that goes into this as well. This is just basic numbers for the sake of this video. But that's option A, which works for a lot of people. Option B is this. At age 65, you did everything the same. You've got 5 million in other assets, but here you've got at 5%, $400,000. 5% of 5 million is not 400,000. How we came up with that is because what we're going to do here is spend down the principal and interest. Where in option A, all we did was live off the interest and conserved our principal. So now, again, we're going to spend everything down, the principal and the interest. The goal here is to spend it down by age 80. That'd be 15 years, which here we've got $400,000. I'll actually give you a little bit more than that. But the plan here is to deplete assets, especially if they are taxable, during, call it our golden years of retirement, where we are more active, we're out and about, we're spending the money faster. A lot of times when we are in our 80s, are we traveling as much and spending the money like we would be in our 60s and 70s? Probably not. Maybe, but probably not. And I say that just based on experience and observing those I know in retirement and family members. So let's take a look at this exact strategy. So the first thing we'll do is look at spending the money down. So here we've got 20 years. So let's do this first. We've got the 5 million, 5% interest. We won't change that. Instead of having flat, which is just living off the interest, we're going to spend it down. So what this does is give us $400,000 per year. The account is still earning 5%, but what's happening here is we're calculating how much we can pull in order to drain the account in 20 years. Now, if we do this over a 20-year period, how old will you be after 20 years in this example? Assuming you started at 65. You'd be 85. If we go back to the whiteboard, we said by age 80, we're going to start pulling money from the life insurance policy. So that would actually be a 15-year pay down, which allows you to get 481, almost 482. Keep in mind, if these are taxable assets, a big chunk of that is going out the door to taxes, probably even more than 80,000. But it's nice to have a bit of a buffer there just to get our income closer to what we want. So that is, again, your retirement nest egg, excluding the life insurance that you have spent down by age 80. That's step one. Step two is looking at the same life insurance policy, but here's the difference. At 65, when you're spending down the other retirement assets, the 400 or 480 per year, you're letting this sit and grow. Now, when you begin to come after this at age 80, we can easily pull $430,000 per year. And remember, if we do it right with the policy, meaning we don't trigger a taxable event, we can access that tax-free, which is fantastic. So what ends up happening here, actually, I see something's a little off here with our calculator. All right, now that we've got that cleaned up, here we go. So we can see the total income we took from the live off the interest strategy. By 95, you've pulled out $3 million in addition to what you paid in. So you paid in 1.5, you got that back, and then another $3 million on top of it. And then at 95, if you're still alive, you've got about $500,000 in cash value and a death benefit of $826,000. If you kick the bucket at 90, the death benefit you left in option A was $1.7 million in change, almost 1.8, that is paid income tax-free. Again, that's with option A. If we look at option B to the right, the income we get from age 80 onward, $430 per year, there we go. That would be about the same compared to what you would get with retirement strategy A. What I mean when I say that, remember, you're getting the $250 per year from your other assets, and then another 150 from the policy. Add the two together. That's 400 per year. Remember though, the 250, you're gonna have some taxes due there. Whereas the life policy, assuming we're doing everything right here, we're getting it tax-free. All right, so back to this, 430 per year. We've got the tax advantage there too. If at age 90, we kick the bucket, what's the death benefit you're leaving? Close to double, $3 million and change. Letting that policy sit in the back burner and grow for a while puts you in a nice position in terms of looking at the long-term cash value growth and the legacy, leaving that death benefit income tax-free. If we look at age 95, there is about $200,000 more, a little bit more than that in death benefit that is passed. So it's a nice strategy just in the sense of being able to leverage assets there as far as how we want to spend our money and also leave it, because both of these scenarios assume that we have the same thing at retirement. All we're looking at is two different individuals or two different scenarios as far as how to spend the money. We are looking at different asset classes and looking at the tax advantages. This also assumes someone began to plan for this at age 45. Now you could do it at 55 years old or even 60. We've got some case studies, you can see them up here, that goes through similar retirement strategies. They're much more in depth, where we break down an individual's current situation. Here's the path they're on before they take out a life insurance policy, and then here's what it looks like afterwards. So the planning can be quite in-depth depending on how deep you want to go. But just by looking at what you have and seeing the most efficient way to spend your money and also pass on your money, there's a lot you can do. And it really just involves sitting down and going through the numbers, or having someone you're working with go through the numbers for you and then present it in a manner that hopefully is understandable. I hope that this was understandable. Some of it, hopefully all of it. If you do have questions, please leave them in the comments below. You can also email us at info@ibcglobalinc.com. And as always, I hope this helps. Thank you so much. Hey guys, Steve here with IBC Global. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're interested in a whole life insurance policy and you'd like to work with our company in setting it up, please visit our website, ibcglobalinc.com. We would love to work with you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, I hope this helps.